Hello and welcome to the first New House vlog. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Emily and I'm the director here at New House, and today I'm going to share with you my top 5 property investment tips. Top tip number 1 when it comes to buying an investment property is the area you buy the property within. There are 5 key factors to look at within the area to make sure you're buying the correct type of property. First one, great transport links. Has it got good train links? Has it got good access to A roads? Really important things to consider. Second thing is schools. Does it have good quality schools? The better the schools, the better quality tenants you're going to find. Third thing, employment opportunities. Does it have good employment opportunities? Good employment opportunities leads to good tenants. Bad employment opportunities leads to not so great tenants, or tenants that unfortunately fall on hard times. Not ideal when you're investing a lot of money in the property. Fourth thing, is there any local development going on? Is that going to affect your property in a good way or a bad way? Really need to consider that. And the last thing is, are there any local amenities nearby? Is there a corner shop where they can go to get a pint of milk and some newspapers? Top tip number 2, monitoring your costs. I cannot stress how important it is to really get your costs sorted before you start to look at buying an investment property. It isn't just the cost of the property you've got to consider, it's your time. Your time falls into a few different sections. The time it takes for you to source a property. How much is that costing you? Are you missing work for that? Second thing is the time it takes to organise the purchase of the property. That can be quite a lengthy process and can take up a lot of your time. Third thing, the time you then got to spend once you've purchased it, renting it out. Have you got time to do it? How much is it going to cost you in your time to do it? Obviously there's other things to consider, such as the cost of works that are required on the property, or I can almost guarantee that no property, unless you buy a brand new one, is rent ready, so you're going to have to spend a little bit of money freshening it up. Another thing to consider, obviously, is the big part of it. How much are you actually willing to spend on a property? And how much can you spend if you have got to do a bit of work to the property? And the final thing, which I think is the thing that catches people out the most, is the cost of the legals. You haven't just got to think about your solicitor's cost, you've got to think about stamp duty cost. They're all things that add up. Make sure you consider everything. Top tip number 3, finding a good agent. You need someone that's going to find you a fantastic set of tenants. And that's the end goal, isn't it really? And there are 3 things you need to look for in an agent when you're trying to do that. Are they trustworthy? For the majority of people, you are giving them your biggest asset worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. Make sure you trust them. They should give you good, honest advice. And that brings me on to my next point. Are they honest? A lot of people will sit there and say to you, we've got hundreds and hundreds of tenants on our books that are looking for exactly your property. The honest answer is that's probably not the case. What they should be saying to you is, we'll find someone that is tailored specifically to what you're looking for. You're their client, not the tenant. Remember that. The third thing is make sure they're reliable. Do they always answer your calls, or at least give you a call back if you leave a message? Can you access them by email quite easily? Are they out of the office all the time, or can you reach them? These are things you really need to consider. And the best way to get around all of this is to read reviews. Most agents will have some form of platform where people can leave them reviews, and usually they get lovely glowing ones, but there obviously will be a few bad ones along the way. So make sure you read them and get a good assessment of whether they're good agents to work with or not. Top tip number 4, use the correct yield formula. I see it time and time again when agents advertise saying this property could achieve you X amount. That is correct, that's the gross yield, not the net yield. When people are working out the yield for a property, you take the property price and you divide it by the yearly rent. Easy, right? Apart from if you're buying something like a flat, when on top of your purchase costs, you'll have a yearly service charge, yearly ground rent to pay, and lots of extras like that. Insurance premiums, things like that come in as well. You need to be deducting those from the yearly rent to be able to work out the correct yield. It's not always as good as it seems. And when you're buying an investment, you want to make sure you're getting the most for your money. Top tip number 5, have you considered using leverage to multiply your return? And what I mean by that is, if you had £100,000 in cash and you went out and bought one property at the value of £100,000, you've got one investment and one property that's potentially going to grow in value. Great. What you could do is you could put a 25% deposit down on 4 properties at the value of £100,000. It's £25,000 per property. You've then got 4 assets, all with income, which means that if one of them is vacant, you've still got 3 other properties earning an income. And at the end of it, you've got 4 properties that are potentially going to grow in value also. So from a long-term point of view, is that a better option? It's not always the case for everyone, but it's definitely something to consider. So that's my top 5 tips for buying an investment property. I hope you found it of use today, and if I can help you in any way, please give me a call 01284 336 113.